The Honorable Sam Guy, who's a former councilman and he's an attorney. Sam Guy.
Yes, thank you. There's a million things running through my mind because like everybody here, no matter what we do, we see the impact of all of these issues on real people. And I've been an attorney here in Delaware for a long time, but I've always lived in what they call the hood. So that means when I walk out my door, the things we're talking about are my neighbors. But guess what? I had a client, Butch Lewis, he's passed now. And if I would be at his house, when you walk out his door, guess what? This same set of issues impact his neighbors too. So we have a new world now where just because you're rich or you're poor, you're not inoculated from the impact of all of this. And what has happened is, you know, there's been a problem with heroin on the east side all of my life. But I guess it's really not a problem until everybody has a problem. So now we know where everybody has a problem. You don't hear about the little kid out in the neighborhood, out in the county, the ODs and the paramedics come. The News Journal doesn't keep a count. Okay? They don't put it on the headline day after day. But it's happening everywhere. Drug overdose, need for treatment. So the most important thing is the front page, and that is making the state of Delaware true to its own law. Treatment, rehabilitation, and restoration. That's the key thing. So I'm going to hit a couple of points. Number one, point A I wanted to make, the people. This is a people-driven movement. This started from the people. And a lot of you have been talking about and working on these issues for years and years and years. And it has coalesced. And now people connected with expertise. Now the power brokers are now shaking in the boots when the people connect with experts. Because then proposals get put on the table. But see, traditionally, there's no legislators to put the proposals on the table. So now you got the next piece connected. Power structure shaking in his boots. Then it's going to get a number, a bill number. And now people are going to have to start having state resources used to put the meat and bones on the proposal. Not the community having to reach in your pockets and figuring out how to do this. But now we have legislative committees and departmental staff being brought to the table because we have legislators, and there's going to be more co-sponsors, or there's going to be folks who may lose their positions because there's more people hurting nowadays than there are people doing well. Okay? And so now the people, you have to do your job and you have to keep that social network and them emails going out, and there's this legislation and people going to community meetings and political meetings and asking their elected officials, do you support this? And you start making people say, hey, this is important. Because see, when an elected official gets 2 calls about an issue, they got 2 calls about an issue. When an elected official gets like 50 calls about an issue, and I'm not talking about a form letter, I'm talking about actual calls from real people saying, I'm in favor of this legislation and here's some of the reasons why, which means you have to get educated, as was stated earlier. You have to read this so that you can be part of the people out promoting it. You can't just read the headline, the title. Read it. It's good reading. It's good stuff in it. Right? So I'm very encouraged. That was point A. Point B I wanted to move to I slightly touched on this. This here is about eliminating the pain and suffering. Because Delaware has done a terrible job with its educational system, and in particular in the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, back 20-some years ago, decided to chart a course that destroyed the educational system for children in Wilmington. But it's very harmful for kids out in the county. I've taught kids from Glasgow Trailer Park, and they're having as big a problem as kids in the city, because some things are racial and some things are economic and class-based. And if you start to connect all of that up together, you realize if you're here in this room, the odds of you being a millionaire and billionaire is pretty low. And if there was an election, there's more regular people here than there are millionaire and billionaires. So why do the regular people keep putting people in place that support what the rich folks need and don't put in place what you need? In this bill, thank you all, eligibility. Remember, you couldn't get any treatment unless you were a criminal? This is excellent. It has a component in it where people, before they become a criminal, can come participate in this. I mean, you all remember, you basically don't have to go out and commit a crime. You run around to try to get help, can't get help anywhere. We only serve people who are criminals. That's just insane. The next topic I wanted to speak on briefly is that it's research-based. We live in a new world. Back in the day, all of you remember shotguns. Shotguns are over. This is the high-tech era. It's red dots. Everything's digital. It's focused. So when it's research-based and you read the contents of this, you see that it's focused. That's really important, because that's one of the criticisms that are often used with reform. Oh, it's not research-based. Well, this is actually research-based, and there's an example that people can show you in California. The next thing I wanted to comment on had to do with the holistic approach in this bill. It's trying to deal with every component of a person who's having a problem. Their present needs, their future needs, and even basics of food and shelter and things of that nature when necessary. If you don't take a holistic approach, then whatever you left out is probably what's going to make you fail. And so that's what's wonderful about this. It has a holistic approach to dealing with humanity. Because you all realize that if you knew the formula to fix a human being, you'd be the richest person in the world. So from a statistical point of view, we need to take all of the various variables that we know assist a person in restoration and try to address them all, and we increase the likelihood of that person becoming a vital, important, contributing member of our society. Next item, A, B, C, D, E, money. This is the game changer here, the money. Okay, the game changer. In the past, if a person was suffering, police department gets more money, they get to hire more police, corrections gets more money, they get to build more, the people who build the prisons make more money, constructing prisons, the people who work in the prisons make more money, the court system expands, more judges, more public defenders, more prosecutors, all the staff, all of that, the nonprofits with their pre-trial services that people are ordered to attend, and then you have Department of Corrections after the fact, probation and parole. So all the money was being spent in those segments of society. When they talk about, what was it President Obama spending all those millions of dollars on? Stimulus package. That's the stimulus package for all of the people who work in those industries. So every time a person gets arrested, all these people make money. This is the game changer, because what it's saying is, we're not spending all of this money in this arena. We're directing the money to meet the needs of the people who are suffering. My last point takes me back to the first point. Thank you for the effort here that has continued, commenced, whatever term you want to use. Treatment, rehabilitation, and restoration. That's a formula, and it's a godly formula. When you start talking about restoration, that's godly, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes in a religious sense. Whatever you believe in religiously, restoration is something that we all agree is something that's good. And there's nothing more beautiful than seeing a person who somehow put themselves or ended up in harm's way, and to see them restored and the kind of person they are as they deal with the rest of humanity. And so if we can help restore people, we can feel good about that. In the bill, there's a section that talks about community-based treatment and rehabilitation centers. And then when you take the component that you don't have to already be a criminal to participate in these programs, then I see that as the avenue where the school systems should be able to also refer children before they become part of youth rehabilitation and kind of refer them into these community-based treatment centers. That's my understanding as I read the framework.